Welcome everyone, my name's Adam Husler, and today we're going to be balancing. And what we're going to be balancing, we're going to be balancing flexibility and strength. And for me, a yoga practice is a practice of balance in many senses. Physically, it isn't a flexibility class, it's not a strengthening class. We're looking for a combination at all times. Many people that do yoga are fairly tight and need to be open in many places, but equally, many people that do yoga now are actually very loose in many places and need far more stability and strengthening. So that's the angle which we're going to be working at today. It's an all-level practice, so let's begin. Remember, you can adapt however you need to adapt. If you're working with injuries, don't do anything that hurts. I'm going to give you a fair few options as well. And remember, my body is different to your body. You need to do what's good for you. For now, child's pose, but in child's pose today, walk the hands forward, come to the fingertips. Lower your ears so they're level with the arms, but don't quite let your head touch the floor. Wrap your armpits in and actively push the floor away. Keep a little bit of space around the ears. Create the feeling of your armpits turning in, your biceps turning up. Just pause there. Find significant length from your fingertips to the bum. Pull your belly button slightly to the spine. So let's call this an active child's pose. And while you're there, start to observe your breath, the inhale, the exhale, and the pauses in between. Allow your body to settle and center yourself around the experience of breathing. And then come forwards to a tabletop position. For now, take a little bit of random movement in the body, a little bit of a freestyle, and particularly explore your wrists. Explore the range of motion you have in the wrist. And as you do this, make sure your fingers are awake. So when you come forwards, the middle and index finger slightly grip the mat. When you come to the side, the little finger and ring finger slightly grip. Fingers slightly wide, but not as wide as possible. Pause in the middle. As you inhale, lift the chest up. From here, turn your bicep to the thumbs, no further. Pull your shoulders down. With your hands, rip the mat apart. With your knees, rip the mat apart. Try not to squash your squashy bits, but find length and openness. And then take your chin to the chest, elbows turn out, arms in internal rotation, push the floor away. Now let's continue this. As you inhale, lift the chest up and forward, shoulders down. As you exhale, ripple back through. Start to breathe in and out through the nose. Start to awaken your Ujjayi breath. Let your breathing get slightly louder, slightly stronger, and build a rhythm you intend to keep to the rest of class. Take 2 more rounds of that. Breath stays nice and steady. And then stop in the middle. Look down so your face is pretty much parallel to the floor. Extend your right leg back. Extend the left arm forwards. Now, chances are you want to be dramatic. Don't be dramatic. Instead, engage your core. Pull your belly button in. Instead of pointing the foot, flex your foot today. Belly button into the spine. Reach your left arm next to the ear. Palm facing in. If you want it to be harder, palm facing up. Looking directly down. Almost a straight line. Right bicep turns to thumb. As you inhale, draw knee to elbow, meet in the middle. Then as you exhale, open back out. Lead with heel. Don't lift that leg too high. Draw back in, knee to elbow. Open back out. Have awareness of where your body is in space. Once more, draw back in. Open back out. Stay there. Reach a little bit further with the heel. Reach your fingers a little bit further. Arm in line with your ear, but not actually touching the ear. Hold for 3. Breathe for 2. Then on 1, put the hand down. Put the leg down. Take a round of cow, shoulders down. Take a round of cat. And then come back to center. Extend the other leg out. Extend the other arm out. Again, pull your belly button in. Your foot about bum height. Your bum about shoulder height, your head and hand about shoulder height. Pause there. Stay there. Find a little bit more length. Then as you inhale, knee to elbow. Open out as long as you can. Draw back in, knee to elbow. Open back out. Don't back bend at this stage. Once more. Pause there. Stay there. Reach a little bit further. Breathe 3. Breathe for 2. And then on 1, release. Take a round of cow, a round of cat. Then walk your hands back slightly, bum towards heels. Turn your index finger to about 12 o'clock. Turn the biceps to the thumbs again, and then just lift your knees, but not your bum. Your bum pushing back towards your heels, your knees kind of sucking towards the chest, your arms actively pushing the floor away. And then release. Hands back a little bit further. This time I do want you to lift your bum. As you lift up slowly, let the shoulders move forward. Maybe you stop here. Maybe you go further. Breathe 4. Make sure the fingers are gripping. For 2. Then release. Once more. Hands a little bit closer, if you want. Inhale, lift up. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Maybe almost tip of the big toe. If you feel amazing, you can lift the feet as well. For 3, 2, release down. A little bit of movement in the wrists. And then hands down, let's come to downward dog. Have a little walk out of your down dog, bend the knees. Now for most people, they get a little bit attached to getting the heels down and straightening the legs. That's not the focus. Instead, keep the pose long, bend your knees, angle your bum up, let your ears be level with the arms. Then only straighten the legs for as long as your bum is angling up. If it suddenly feels easier, that's not a good sign. Now equally, this is another pose where people tend to collapse into flexibility. People want to headbutt the floor and roll the shoulders in. Instead, wrap your armpits in, push the floor away, and engage these muscles under the arms. Your lats kind of sticking out, your serratus anterior engaging. This should be a strong pose. But in honesty, it took me about 10 years to actually work out how to do down dog. As you inhale, come forwards to plank. Stay there. Instead of rounding the back like cat, find a neutral position today. Pause. Come forward to the tiptoes. Lower your knees, hips, belly, and chest. Reach your arms back, look at the floor. Lift your arms up. Lift your chest up, push your feet down. Try not to let your feet turn out, but reach your little toe a little bit closer to the floor and find space across your lower back. And then release. Hands level with the shoulders, kneecaps lift, thighs awake. Roll your shoulders back and down and pull your chest forwards. Now make sure your hands are doing something. Not lifting you, but pulling you. And then bum to the heels. Slowly into down dog, leading with your bum, shoulders stable. Lift the right leg to the sky. Just to get out of your system, point the toes, turn the hips, turn the legs. And then ideally don't do that ever again. Or maybe do it occasionally, but not now. Right leg up, but the glutes level, the pelvis stable. Lead with the ball of the foot. Inhale. And then draw the right knee to the right elbow. Lift your chest up to plank. Lower the bum down to plank. Inhale to sky. Draw your knee to the other elbow. Inhale back to sky. Draw your knee to the armpit. And then, without moving your bum, knee to wrist. To armpit or shoulder to wrist. Once more. This won't be the funnest part of class. Back up, then right leg top of mat. Step the right leg all the way up. Reach your arms up. Now just so we feel the difference, Instagram lunge. Imagine you're on a beach. Now, instead of doing this involves no strength. This is me collapsing into my joints. Come a little bit out of it. Pull your belly in, start to wake up these muscles, and create the feeling of your right foot pulling back and the feeling of your left knee pulling forwards. Suddenly it's far more awake. Something called your rec fem is stretching far more. Reach your arms up. Wrap your armpits in. Pull your belly in. Let this be a strong pose. Take one more full breath there. Then take your hands to the heart. Exploring your active range of motion. Take your left elbow towards your right knee, but don't touch yet. So you're exploring how much you can twist using the muscles that are there to twist your body, not using any levers. One more full breath. Now let's get a lever. Elbow touches the knee, then start to twist a little bit deeper. Focus less on your eyeballs, more on turning the belly, on turning the chest, on turning the head. Then curl the toes. You can look down or up, depending on how optimistic you feel. Then slowly straighten that left leg. Lift your bum higher than the left knee. Then slowly bend the left leg. And then lift it. And then bend it. Make sure your right leg is fighting your left arm as much as your arm is fighting the leg. Stop next time you're at the top. Look down. Reach your arms backwards. Lift the chest slightly. And then push forwards into Warrior 3. Find a straight line from head to foot. Now, I'd much rather you be at this angle in a straight line than be at this angle in an M shape. So find a straight line, whatever angle that is for you. And then bend the right leg. Slowly step back to high lunge. Again, a little bend in that back knee and a little bit more engagement in the front. Then take your hands to the floor. Instead of stepping to down dog, see if you can suck your belly in and step to plank. Tiptoes, take your knees down. Slightly lift your chest up and just very slightly lower the hips. So you're pretty much in a straight line from head to bum. Pretty much. Bend your arms only to 90 degrees. So chaturanga. Not here or here, but a 90-degree position more or less. The elbows literally touching the body. Don't go any lower, but lower your hips. Shoulders back, kneecaps lift, not rolling legs externally. Then bum to the heels. Slowly down dog, fingers gripping mat, lift left leg straight up. Again, without rotating. Inhale. Draw knee to elbow. Lift chest, lower bum. Inhale, sky. Draw knee to the other elbow. Lift chest, lower bum. Back to the sky. Then step the leg to the top of the mat. Back knee down. Arms up. Initially, again, just tilt the pelvis and just collapse it. Again, this looks good but isn't that useful. In the long term, probably injurious. Just come out a little bit. Create that feeling of the right knee pulling forwards. Left heel pulling back. Arms reaching. Again, as with every pose, we're looking to balance flexibility and strength. There are things I'm engaging. There are things I'm opening. That should be happening in every asana we do. Unless you're in Shavasana or in a restorative class, there is no collapsing. Wrap those armpits in, lengthen. Then take your hands to the heart. Right elbow hovers as close to the knee as possible. Turn belly, turn chest. Turn your head proportionately. And then take the tip of the elbow to touch the knee. Turn a little bit deeper. Belly and chest, looking slightly left or slightly up, but not backwards. If you want, you can look down as you curl the toes and straighten back leg. Then up and down a few times, but keep the twist. Up and down, the bum goes a little bit higher than the left knee if possible. Take it twice more. Really work on strengthening. Then when you're next at the top, stay there. Look down. Reach your arms back. Awaken the upper back, like the opposite of looking at your phone. Pull the shoulders down. Notice palms facing down. This is an external rotation. If they're facing the other way, that's going to roll the shoulders in and actually prevent you from engaging mid-back. Push forwards. Left leg stays bent as you lift up. Again, you explore the line you want to be in, or at least explore the angle you want to be in, whatever that is. Then bend that leg slowly as you step back, high lunge, arms up, hands to floor, step back to plank. Come forward to tiptoes. That's your choice. You can have the knees down or lifted, but bend the arms only to 90 degrees. Not here, 90 degrees. If you can't do this, knees down instead. Then up dog or cobra. Now everyone transition a little bit higher to up dog if you're not yet. And just straighten the arms and roll the shoulders forward. So what's happening here? Am I using any strength? Not really. I'm just kind of pushing back, locking out my skeleton, compressing my lower back. Does it feel good? Slightly. Is it good for my lower back? Probably not. So instead, make a little bend in the arm, roll the shoulders back, and actually try and pull your chest forwards. And you notice, because I'm on this nice sticky mat, I'm pulling the mat. I'm creasing the mat as I pull forwards. Shoulders down for 2. Suddenly, this is hard. Then on 1, back to down dog. Pause in down dog. Bend the knees. At the end of the exhale, jump to a squat position, hands to the heart, lift the chest. Now from here, let your knees squeeze in, let your arms fight back, let your chest lift up, let your shoulders melt down. So there are 2 opposite actions happening. Legs squeezing, arms fighting. If you feel quite strong in the upper back, you're welcome to lift your arms up at this point. Reaching the arms towards the ears. That might be a little bit too much. Hold for 2. Then on 1, hands down. Walk your feet closer as you lift your bum up. As you inhale, lift up to halfway. For me, look down and reach your arms back and start to actually fire up your mid-back. Then as you exhale, touch the floor. Inhale, reach your arms up. Then bend the knees for chair pose. So there's different people teach this in different ways. For me, I want you to sit down in a chair rather than transform into a table. So nice and tall, upper back awake. Now the fun bit. Lift up to the tiptoes. Keep the arms up. We're going to count to 10. We're going to lower for 10, 9, 8, 7. Don't accelerate for 6. Down the tiptoes for 5. Don't drop for 4, 3, 2. Then on 1, pause. I know what you're thinking. What would it be like to do that slow going up? Okay, let's try that. Let's lift up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Stop. The problem is we wanted to be down. So let's lower down a little bit quicker. We'll be nicer now. Bum towards heels. Reach your arms forwards. Lower your heels towards the floor or as close as you can. Lift up to the toes. Lean back a little bit. Lower the knees as slowly as you can. Back up to the toes. Lower your heels. Lower your bum. Lift the feet. Pause there. Engage your upper back. Hands to the side. Now make sure you are looking slightly up here. So there's a V shape between your knee, your bum and your shoulders. Feet apart. Often we get so desperate to lift our legs high, we round the back to do that. So keep the chest lifted and then only straighten the right leg for as long as your chest stays lifted. Hold for 3. Engage your upper back, looking slightly up for 2. Then on 1, switch, other leg. Now when I say look up, I don't mean roll your eyes back. Lift the chest up. Keep your eyeballs neutral for 3, 2. Cross your ankles, step back to plank. From a plank position, come forwards to the tiptoes. Stay there. A little bit more forwards. Take your right elbow down to where your right hand was. And then come back up. Take your left elbow to where your left hand was. And then come back up. Lower the knees, hips, and belly, chest. Reach your arms back. Lift the chest up. Pause there. Shoulders down more. Push your feet down harder. And then release. Take the elbows down. We're going to come to Sphinx pose. So hands and elbows shoulder width. With your hands, almost create the feeling of ripping the mat apart. With your elbows, create the feeling of squeezing the mat. Let the kneecaps lift, let the thighs awaken. The best way to tell if your elbows are shoulder width is simply to look at them. Not to do kind of weird proportion things, but just externally rotate and look down. From here, curl the toes. Lift up to forearm plank. Pause there for 3. Grip with fingers for 2. Then on 1, release. Kneecaps lift. Curl the toes again, lift up. Keep the hands ripping apart. Draw the right knee as close as you can to the right elbow without lifting the bum. Keep the bum low. And then step back. Left knee towards left elbow for 3, 2, back, release. Do one more thing. Curl the toes, lift up. Walk the hands in. Now, I particularly today want you to make sure your hands and elbows stay about shoulder width. Don't take them together. I want to keep the external rotation. Walk as close as you can. Maybe lift the right leg up. Maybe come to the tiptoes. Now, please don't start jumping and kicking and flailing around. Instead, stay here and just stay there. If it's an option for you, you could tilt and hold a tilt, but don't start kicking and jumping. Wherever you are, hold it for 5. For 4, 3, 2, come down. Just take a rest. So why was I saying you couldn't kick? Because when you kick without any control, you're ending up putting weight into your arms for maybe 0.1 seconds. At least being on your tiptoes, you're practicing holding 70% of the weight in your arms for 10 seconds. That's probably going to be more useful. So, hands down, hands and elbows shoulder width. Rip the mat with your hands, walk the feet in. Stay there, lift the other leg up. Stay there. Maybe come to the tiptoes. Stay there. Do not go any lower. If you can tilt, feel free, but no jumping. Little tilt's fine. But otherwise, stay in that intense place for 4, 3, 2, then on 1, release. Take a moment in child's pose. For this one, allow it to be a little bit more passive, maybe arms back. And then ease back up. Hands down, curl the toes. Down dog. Then walk your feet to the top of the mat. Come to face inwards. Take your legs relatively wide. Turn your right foot forwards. Left foot could be heel to heel or midfoot big toe, depends on your unique body and your unique alignment in your body. Preparing for warrior 2, back foot turned in just a little bit. Before you go deeper, turn on the glutes, engage your left leg, find stability here. And as you go deep, look down that front arm. Again, what would be easier? To sink. But instead, draw in and engage. Pause there. As your yoga practice matures, Warrior 2 should get harder. Like, I really hate Warrior 2 now. There is so much going on in this pose. For the first year, it got easier, but since then, more and more happening. One more full breath. Then reach your right arm up. Leave your left arm where it is, but wrap your armpit in, like you're screwing in a giant light bulb from the armpit. Without turning the chest, lift up and back. Not the same as folding down, but lift up and back. Your left arm isn't supporting you. And then ease yourself back to center. Turn that foot in, other foot out. Find a nice level pelvis. Engage that back leg, bend the front leg. Nice long pose. Almost a slight feeling that your inner legs are rotating slightly away from each other. Your torso almost in Tadasana, but the arms reaching, the shoulders melting down. Again, try to work out in your own body. What are you engaging? What are you stretching? What are you strengthening? Are you hanging out anywhere? And if you can avoid that, avoid that. Leave the right arm where it is. Reach your left arm up. Again, light bulb, screws in and elevates, lifting up and backwards. Pause there. You can create that feeling of reach rather than the feeling of folding. And then ease yourself out. Walk your feet slightly in. Turn your feet then slightly out. Cactus your arms. Pause there. Feel like the inner legs are opening away from each other. Then take your forearms to the inner legs. Push the inner legs away from each other. Hold that. And that's quite intense. So ideally your head, your bum, your knees, kind of the same height. Keep that happening, but take your fingertips down. Don't let the legs drop in. Keep the legs opening apart. Maybe walk your fingers out further. And hopefully you're not leaning into the hands. They're kind of pulling you forwards as your legs open. Hold that. Now this should feel quite intense. All your legs want to do is drop in, but you're engaging your abductors. Keep opening those legs out. And then ease yourself up. Hands to the top of the mat. Feet together. Come to a seated position. Take the soles of the feet together, but not too close. Take the left arm under the left leg. Right hand belly. Turn belly, turn chest. Open arm up. And that should feel quite intense already. And then for the first time, kind of let the arm collapse. Move a little bit around. Express your deepest emotion through the movement of the arm. And then find a place that feels interesting, however weird that is. But it feels like a place you couldn't be for long. And let the head drop. Passive stretch in the right hand side of the neck. A rotation in torso. Back to center. Other arm under, elbow down, turn belly, chest. Give yourself the time to really get that rotation. Then open arm in line with chest. Move it around. And then again, just be inquisitive, be investigative. Find a place that feels interesting. Pause there, whatever that looks like. Keep the rotation, let the head drop. Let the ear drop. Come back, unwind the right arm and just take a passive forward fold. No force, just gravity and muscular release. So this is the first time I do want you to collapse and let go. Take a few moments there. Let go of your Ujjayi breath now. Let it go. Let the breath be steady. And then make your way to Shavasana, corpse pose. Come to lie on your back. Find your stillness as soon as you can. Get any little fidgets and movements out the way. And allow your body to settle. And do stay here for this. I'm sure you've got a busy life and you have other stuff you could be doing, but there is probably nothing more urgent in the modern world than actually being still. So give yourself this opportunity just to let go, to let your breath be natural, to let your mind be calm, to let your heart be open. And just 10 seconds of complete silence now. Now you can stay there for as long as you want. But my name is Adam Husler. Thank you for sharing your practice.